you? Luckily, Bugsy is allergic to bees. Let's hope Dog EpiPens work on humans. Stay with us, Tush.
See? What fun! This is what you miss when we have Wi-Fi.
True. Now we can talk to each other and form real human connections.
Hey, Franco took me to getting Wi-Fi. Huh? So it's there if you want it.
Yeah, nice knowing you.
Oh, come on. You guessed my new password? Is Iraqi love jockey that obvious?
Arthur. Yeah. I may have just invented a new taste sensation.
Yeah, what is it, Tush?
I take a donut hole, I put a little coffee in the middle, I call it the Tush hole.
I don't think that's a good idea. Let's just enjoy this, yes?
It doesn't have to be coffee, of course. You could put anything in your Tush hole. Hey, that could be our ad campaign. What do you like in your Tush hole? I just heard it. Never mind.
What's going on?
My drug dealers was wrong.
No.
Those bastards took everything. My computers, my chemicals, my hangers that say we don't use chemicals. Girl cop, come and help.
Girl Cop's not going anywhere until she's had her coffee. In the last 24 hours, we've had 6 break-ins, 2 muggings, and 1 public urinary.
I really had to go.
Did I really have to watch?
Coffee's still brewing.
All right, it'll be a few more minutes.
Fine, I'll be next door. I have to give the insurance company my wish list. I mean, the list of things that were stolen.
Finally, it's getting close to home, ain't it?
Yeah, what's been happening here? I thought this neighborhood was supposed to be getting nicer.
Well, a friend of mine is on the byproduct of gentrification. As Biggie Smalls once said, more money, more problems.
It's actually no money, no problem.
I'm not comfortable saying it that way.
Yeah, the crime rate's gotten so bad that Parton's putting his reinforcement stuff out.
Yeah, great. More cops. No, that means more crackdowns.
All this time, there's a time to bring out my bus face.
Did you say bus fix?
Yeah, it's this face I use on public transportation so people don't mess with me.
Oh, that's so cute. Adorable.
Like a constipated Disney princess.
Man! Hey, I be tripping off these folks, man.
You're in Uptown.
You know, I'll start seeing people try to mimic my saying,
Like a crazy person.
Please don't.
but you can't sound like me, man.
I invented a character I call.
I'm watching some I like them shows. I'm watching Superior Donut.
Beautiful eyes.
I like comedies, you know, different shit like that, man. I'm versatile when it comes to TV, man.
I hate Johnny Buttons.
But sometimes I got to get out that mode of what I be doing when I be doing my you know, my regular news and stuff like that. So, you know, when I get to the point where I gotta, you know, try to push all that negative energy that I've been absorbing doing news stories all day, I have to watch some of this comedy, make me laugh. You feel me? You feel it? That's what it's about, man. That's why it's a lot of jobs that I couldn't do because I couldn't live with it. Like I tell you, I got a friend that he grew up in a mortuary type family, funeral home family. He seen his first dead body when he was probably about 3, 4 years old, and now he actually owned the funeral home. And you know the crazy thing about that is when you see people when they die, it's a different feeling. But when you actually embalming the people, friends and family and people you went to school with, that's gotta be a drain on a person, man. A person gotta be thinking to themselves, damn, am I next? Is somebody gonna be standing over me and thinking to themselves, man, I remember when we was in school and we used to play on the playground and you know, and now somebody's standing over me and bombing me. You know, a lot of people when they look at people that they grew up with, it ain't even gotta be friends or family. It just be people that you ain't seen in a long time, and if the first time you see them is when death come around, it's really fucked up because you start thinking about, I wonder what their life been for the last 20, 30 years or whatever. I wonder what they've been doing. What did they do in life? Do they got kids? Do they got grandkids? You know, you get to ask them type of questions. Like, at the end of the day, when we all take our last breath on this earth, everybody gonna be thinking something different. You know, some people gonna be thinking, I know I did what I should have did, and you know, I'm ready to go. But then a lot of people gonna be sitting there thinking like, man, I know I didn't do what was right, and shit, I know I'm going to hell. I ain't going to heaven. I'm going to hell for all my sins I don't committed on this earth. You know, but I look at it like when you take your last breath, as long as you done did everything you can to make the people around you life better, then you feel like you done something. You know, when you take your last breath and you know that you ain't left nobody no debt, you ain't left nobody in no financial situation, you feel a little bit better about life, man. You know, that's why I tell people always get your affairs in order, because you never know when the day might be your last day, man. You never know. And you know, it doesn't matter how much money you got, money can't stop you from when God call you home, man. He can't. You know, a lot of people sit around in the world and they squander their times and their days with negative energy and negative people in their life when they really don't understand that that might be their last day. And do you really want to spend your last day on this earth dealing with somebody else's problems, somebody else's bad energy, somebody telling you that you ain't shit and somebody telling you you ain't doing this and doing that? I don't want to spend my last days on this earth living like that, man. Because you never know when your last day is. You can go to the doctor tomorrow and the doctor tell you that you got 3 months to live. I'd be surprised when I be having conversation with a lot of people that's my age, 46 years old, and they be talking about they ain't been to the doctor and they don't want to go to the doctor because they scared of what the doctor might find, then you ain't been living your life right. If you scared of what a doctor gonna tell you, then you ain't been living your life right. You've been putting your dick in something, letting somebody put their winnie in you, and you scared of what them folk gonna say, then you ain't been living your life right, man. You know, I'm one of them people, I'm gonna go to the doctor no matter what, because if anything's wrong with me, I want to be able to tackle that shit and go head first with it to make sure people have cancer, people have different things that happen to them, and if they catch them at a point where it can be recovered with medication and treatment, then them people live a long, productive life. But if you neglect your health and them folk don't be able to catch it in time, then you just a dead man walking. You know, that's why I tell people, man, you got to always know what's going on with your body. Your body starts showing you signs that something ain't right with your body just by the way you move, the way you breathe, the way you talk. You know, sometimes it's scary, you know, because a lot of people be scared that they ain't done what they should have done in life. And a lot of people that's working hard in their life, they ain't trying to leave this earth before they succeed in doing what they feel like that they want to do in life. And, you know, a lot of people, they ain't dreaming of having $1 million or having mansions, and they just want to make sure that they build a financial wealth for the people that they created. They want to make sure when they leave this earth that the people that they created with their DNA ain't got to suffer no more. They ain't got to worry about going through the struggles. They ain't got to worry about, you know, going through the thing that you went through. It took me a long time to, you know, digest the things that happened to me as a child and to be able to move on with just move on, because I never understood a lot of things that happened to me as a child, happened to me as an adult. But as time went on, I figured out that I couldn't stop or control the things that happened to me as a child. I couldn't stop and control the things that happened to me as an adult. Because people don't wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to go out there in the world and create chaos, man. You know, they're not trying to get out there and create chaos. But the thing about life is if you go out there in this world and you could be doing everything right, and you could be in a car wreck, somebody could carjack you and take your life, and that'd be your last day on earth. So what have you done to make sure that if it's your last day on earth, that when you close your eyes, you feel like that you're satisfied with the life you lived? Man, I've been through so many situations in life that I had to come to grips that a lot of things that happened to me in my life was my fault. I put myself in a lot of situations that I shouldn't have put myself in because I knew better. I learned that I couldn't blame people for the mistakes that the enemy in prison. I couldn't do that. I had to move on from having that anger in my heart for something that didn't even deserve to have no anger, man. Because you can only be angry at yourself for so long till you realize that you got to forgive yourself. It took me a long time to realize that I had to do a lot of soul searching to realize that I have created a lot of chaos in this world, and maybe I'm reaping what I sow when certain situations come, man. When I sit back and think about the things that happened to me in my life and the things that I've done, sometimes I realize that I really ain't got the karma that some people would feel like that I deserve. You know, because when you actually take a human life, no matter if it's a person that's trying to take your life, you always gonna live with that for the rest of your life, man. Because when you start watching your grandchildren and your children grow up and you realize you took someone's life and they ain't got no grandkids, and if they do, they grandkids and kids, and they not getting a chance to see them people, man. They're not getting a chance to know a person that should have been here. Because a lot of people get into heated arguments with individuals that turn into someone dying. And a lot of times it ain't even worth that, man. It ain't. Man, I sit in the penitentiary with a lot of individuals that wish they could change the things that they done in their past or go back in time. And for them 3-4 minutes, man, we talking about 2-3 minutes, seconds, change your fucking life. It changes the whole thought of where you thought you was gonna be compared to where you gonna be at, man. You know, the worst feeling in the world is to be waking up in a jail cell knowing that you ain't going nowhere, man. Knowing you ain't going no motherfucking where. I mean, bond outrageous. And then that's when you figure out that a lot of people only loved you or cared about you because you was there to do stuff for them, man. And I think that hurt worse than anything in the world, man, because you watch so many people, you know, and I ain't condoning drug dealers or none of that, but you watch so many people that hustle and grind every day and take care of a lot of people. A lot of people. But them same people don't even send that individual a book of stamps in the penitentiary. Don't now one of them people send that same person no care package. And then that individual, he's sitting in that prison cell thinking to himself, why the fuck was I doing the shit that I was doing if I didn't have no loyalty? If I ain't had nobody that really cared about me, if the only thing that them folk cared about was money, then why they didn't just tell me that? I'm going to tell you why. Human beings are built to be selfish individuals. It's just some people are more selfish than others. That's why I don't get to the point where women are so bold. You hear me say bold, that they demand a certain amount of money for some pussy, man. You know what I mean? I remember times when women was talking about women are empowered and we need to do this and we need to do that. But you see so many women that's got so much power and influence over so many young women, and they ain't teaching them the right thing to live how they live their life, man. When you got rappers that get on stage and they females and they get on there and they say more stuff that's raunchy than the motherfucking men. They get on there talking about sucking assholes and sucking dicks and fucking. They just get on there and be so out of control and so flamboyant. And the way they dress is making motherfucker, they call them hot girls. Hot girls. It's a reason they call them hot girls, because them is sluts. You know, you got little girls walking around at 13, 14-year-olds with shirts on that say, I'm a little slut. I'm not going to let my little girl, my child walk out of no house with no shirt on it that says, I'm no slut. What type of individual is promoting that type of shit with their children to the point where they say, oh, they just being vocal with who they are? They just being vocal. You know, and I'm one of them individuals that love everyone. I don't care, because I grew up and realized as an adult that it's people of all races that go through the same fucking struggles as all races. Man, I grew up in a city where them folks literally had white folk projects and black folk projects, where all the white folks, man, you come to Nashville right now and you ask the motherfucker and you run across somebody white and they say they from the projects, they gonna tell you they from either South Bay, they from East Nashville projects, man. They from East Nashville projects. Because East Nashville was what the white folk project, man. People don't understand that you got white folks and black folks and Hispanic folks. Them folks is got projects, man. And this back in the days when wasn't a whole bunch of Hispanics running around in America, man. You had individuals of all colors that them folks were preparing that was going through poverty for them to have somewhere to live, man. All white folk wasn't living in trailer parks. They was like, shit, why should I go out here and pay to live in a trailer when I can go live in a project, a brick building that ain't gonna blow away when the wind gusts up, and I can pay $23 a month like the black folks. It ain't, you know, it ain't making me look no worse. It ain't making me look no better. You know, and then a lot of people get angry at people that point out the people that's not doing what they should be doing. I mean, people that sitting back literally just living off the government and making babies. People that's passing the bullshit knowledge on their kids, telling them when you turn 16 and you pregnant, go down there to the rent office. I already don't talk to Mrs. Johnson about getting you a project because you ain't gonna be laying up in there with no baby. It's 16, man. It's 16. There's so many people that don't understand that the project was meant to be a stepping stone. It wasn't meant to be a headstone, man. It wasn't meant for nobody to live their whole entire life in no motherfucking public housing, getting food stamps every fucking month in welfare for 30, 40 years. The government wasn't built for that, and people wasn't built for that, man. Man, when I was raised in the projects, man, they used to have these things called congratulation parties when people moved out of the projects. People literally celebrated when they friends went and bought them a home, because wasn't nobody moving out the projects and moving into no apartments. People knew that they lived in the project long enough that they saved enough money because they wasn't paying the same amount of rent as other individuals in the world. So them people stayed in the project for 4, 5 years, 6, 7 years, and they got enough money to go buy them a house. And they never look back. They never look back, man. And that was called being successful. You know, now you got so many people that lay up in the project, they cool with it. They call it ghetto fabulous. I'm living ghetto fabulous. I don't understand how you living fabulous if you living off the government, man. I don't understand how you feel like that you living fabulous when you ain't even got your name on a piece of paper that say you own nothing, man. Nothing. Nothing. But you ghetto fabulous. I don't understand that, man. I ain't never ever gonna say that people shouldn't take advantage of government assistance if you need it. Because everybody go through their trials and tribulations and they live and got to figure out a way to survive. But I was doing a story and I was telling people about, you know, the Trump administration is pushing for a 2-year minimum of people being on Section 8 and on government funding. And when I sit back and see, a lot of people don't understand that you can't just sometimes just watch TikToks and YouTube's videos to get the real point of why and how these people are passing laws. And then you realize that anybody can watch open debates in any Senate floor, any House of Representatives. Them folks have live cameras where you can watch it all day long. You can even watch it on C-SPAN or you can watch it on your phone, man. So if you actually watching these folks debate these laws and you know that it ain't just Trump that's saying that people shouldn't be able to live in public housing for 2 years, you realize that it's some Democrats that's saying the same thing. They saying that if we take the money out of this situation and put it in that situation, maybe we can help more people that need help. That's what they saying. They saying that if you knock down some of these government housing, these projects, buildings, that these children or these individuals are publicizing, they are killing grounds and gang-infested areas. If we knock them down and turn them into parking lots, then we'll eliminate a lot of crime. We'll eliminate a lot of people that was housing drugs, guns, gang members. That's what these folks is on the Senate floor is talking about, man. That's what them Democrats is out there. Them Democrats ain't all out there like, let's save the projects, they not like that. Because you got to sit back and you listen. That's why it's called a debate. You're going to have someone that's going to get out there and they're going to say why this is not right and why this is not right and why we need to come to an agreement of why we should do this. You got to think people years ago was talking about defund the police and wasn't even thinking about what they were saying. You can't defund the police or take the police off the streets, because if you do, you're going to have chaos in the streets, man. You're going to have chaos because people are going to arm themselves and protect themselves, and it's going to be, everybody is going to be the judge, the jury, and the executioner, man. And it's going to be straight chaos in the world. That's what people don't understand, that if you don't have criminals, you don't have police officers. If you don't have sick individuals, you don't have doctors. So for every individual in this world, it keeps the whole world turning. But the main factor is trying to figure out a way to live a productive life and not get killed for nothing, man. You know, a lot of people don't understand that when you get to a certain point in life, you're looking for peace. Peace, joy, happiness. No stress, no foolishness, No waking up to people arguing and you hear their conversations. Not having to worry about, if you don't want to deal with people, you just cut your phone off. If you don't want to deal with people, you don't even let people know where you live. Because it's people that wake up miserable, and they looking for somebody to dump all that negative energy in your lap, man. It's been days that I don't woke up with a smile on my face. A smile on my face. And have a conversation with a person and then turn my whole day upside down. So then I had to get to a point where I started eliminating people by blocking individuals. I had to start blocking people from my life so I wouldn't have to worry about their negative energy. I had to stop running to people's aid like I was Captain Save-A-Ho to come up to an understanding to realize that, man, God didn't make me for me to be out here trying to save everybody. God didn't put me on this earth to think that I'm supposed to go out here and bless everybody, because everybody don't deserve to be blessed. And a lot of people don't understand that when you find that people will use people, manipulate people in the name of love, that they say love and loyalty, and you find out ain't now one of them is true, shit. You realize one thing in life, that you can't never depend on no person but yourself. But yourself. You can't depend on nobody to make your goals come true but you. A lot of people sit back and they waste their time and their energy on jobs and individuals till it's too late, man. And nowadays, the saddest thing about a lot of these men that I see in this world, when the women say that they don't want to be with them no more, they take their life, man. They rather take a human being's life because they don't want to be with them no more and go spend the rest of their life in the penitentiary with men. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's just insane to me, man. That's insane that a person can have a mindset that if I can't have you, can't nobody else have you. I don't understand that. I look at life like, if you meant to be with someone, you're going to be with them at the end of the day. If you meant to fall in love with someone, you're going to fall in love with people, man. I got a friend that's been married 3 different times, and I asked him, why you keep getting married? Why? He said, man, you can never say who you going to fall in love with and when you're going to fall in love with somebody, man. He said, you think I'm a glutton for punishment? He said, I'm not just falling in love. He said, every last one of my relationships ended for different reasons. He said, my first marriage, I married my high school sweetheart, and my high school sweetheart was not my sweetheart. He said, we just was children and didn't know what love and what marriage was. He said, it didn't last no about 2-3 years. He said, but his second marriage, he was so insecure about women and love that he thought he better go out there and cheat before his wife cheated. And then come to find out his wife never cheated on him. So he ended up getting a divorce from the second wife. But he just got remarried at 45 years old, and he said he found his soulmate. He found the same kind of individual as him. He found a person that went through the same type of steps in relationship that he went through, not being married 2-3 times, but went through, people cheating on him, people being insecure in relationship, till he found someone that they secure in their life together. And I told him, man, I'm happy for you, man. I'm happy. Even sometimes, even if you feel like your friends are making mistakes, you still gotta stand beside them, man. Especially when it comes to relationship, because you never ever want to be the one to put any kind of negative energy into another person's relationship. I don't even give advice to friends or family when they come to me about their significant other, man. I don't. Because I've learned that you could be dealing with your sister and she could call you every time that her boyfriend or her husband having a disagreement, and you go over there and the problem turn into a bigger situation, man. A bigger situation. When at the end of the day, she gonna go bond him out and they gonna leave you in jail. For real. That's facts, man. I've seen it happen over and over, to the point where I realized that you gotta let relationship play out the way they play out, man. And don't nobody ever know what's going on in someone's house. You have different people come out and say this and say that. You gonna have the friends of this person say that that person was doing this, and you gonna have the other individuals saying that that person was the fault of the situation. You very rarely hear people say, well, we just parted ways because we felt like we was going in two different paths of life. Because sometimes that happens. Sometimes you could be with an individual for so long that you wake up one day, or that individual wake up one day and tell you, I don't feel like I'm living my full life or potential. And they ain't saying that they don't love you. They not saying that they don't care about you, but they just said they feel like they missing out on something. And if a person tell you that, you gotta say, okay, I need to step to the side, because you never, ever want to keep a person in a miserable situation, because if they stay and y'all overcome that situation or whatever the things are, and you don't let that person deal with what they got going on, that person gonna hate you for the rest of their life, and you ain't even gonna know it. That person gonna wish and hope and pray every day that something happen to you so that they have a reason to leave you, man. People don't understand that you can't make no individual stay in a situation that they don't want to be in no more. You can't make, if a person say that they don't want to live with you no more, then you need to let that person leave. If a person say they don't want to be in a relationship with you no more, then you need to let that person leave, because a lot of people get their emotions so caught up that they lose their mind. And they do things that in life they're going to regret. I never want to get to the point where I'm so angry that I'm going to put my hands on a female, because that ain't the way I was raised. That ain't the way that I was brought up. And if I ever had a female hit me, shit. I don't have females ball their fist up. I don't have them smack me. But it was one thing I knew to do. I knew to grit my teeth and walk away, because it was one thing I didn't want to do. I didn't want to go to jail. I didn't want to go to jail, and I didn't want to be one of them people that when you look at a person's background, they say that person was domestic violence, man. Because people don't understand that when you get tagged with being an abuser or got domestic violence on your record, that'll hinder you from getting a lot of jobs. That'll hinder you from getting a lot of people that you want to associate yourself with distance themselves from you, because nowadays you can do a background check on anybody. You used to have to go get a private eye or something to do a background check. Now you can go online and pay $19.99 and do a one-time background check. I pay $99 a year, and you can do unlimited background checks, man. Unlimited. You can go online, and if you know a person's name, shit, they got apps where you ain't got to know nothing but a person's nickname and what city they in, and you could put that nickname in that database, and it'll pop up all the nickname people, and it'll give you their real name. Technology make it hard for anyone to ever say that they didn't know that the person that they brought around their children was a sex offender. Technology make it where people can't say that the individual that they brought around their family, that they didn't know their background. It be so many women that be so thirsty to be in a relationship that they put their family members in jeopardy, man. They put their kids, their daughters, their sons in jeopardy of being victims. Victims. All because they want some man to love them, man. I seen so many women that be online, and I tell you the worst one I think is Cardi B, man. You got Cardi B. It's Cardi B. Cardi B is married to a registered sex offender, man. She married to a person that she know that was convicted of raping somebody, a child. She know it. But every time somebody say something about her and dude online, she get online and get all in her feelings. What did you expect when you married this individual knowing his background? Did you think people was gonna look and say Cardi B's a great rapper, we ain't gonna look at her no different? Women looked at her different. They probably looked at her and said, man, that she struggled and became somebody good. When they found out that she married a registered sex offender, oh, Nicki Minaj. Was it, man, let me look before I get to talking. It is Cardi B. Let's see who's married to the sex offender. Hold on, man. I ain't gonna just throw words out there. It's Nicki Minaj. Okay, it's Nicki Minaj, the stripper. Yeah, it is. I'm glad y'all corrected me, man. I'm sorry, Cardi B. I'm sorry. I did not mean to slander your name, and I was not trying. I'm just a old motherfucker that don't keep up with these rappers. But I seen a post. I seen a post, and she was mad. Yeah, that's her. Yeah, that's him. Keith Pettis. That's him right there. Yeah, and I be seeing that you know what I mean, she be getting mad when people talking about him when he's a fucking sex offender. I'm talking about anything that you want to know about him, you ain't got to do but just Google. So, you know, a lot of women that was rocking with her, and you gotta think, man, I don't care how good she performed and all that, you gotta think her judgment gotta be off, man. It gotta be off. You know what I mean? Because why would you put your children shit where, It tell you a whole bunch. I didn't know Nicki Minaj's brother was a sex offender too. So I'm telling you, and then it make a lot of sense because she was a stripper, and most strippers was people that were molested by people, man. So all we know, Nicki Minaj might have been molested by her brother or by somebody family member, and that's the reason why she was such a slut. You know what I mean? That's the truth. That might be why she is who do. You know what I mean? Because something got to be wrong, man. Something got to be wrong with her, man. That's like me. Why would I go out if it's one thing about it. If I go out in the world and I meet a female and I Google that female, you know, and I find that female is an offender, I'm not gonna be still dating her. I don't give a fuck how cold she is. You know. That's just crazy that she's ugh. They put a warning label on the tickets. I remember back in a couple months ago, she was doing a tour, and it was iHeartRadio was the sponsor, and on the bottom of the ticket, it had a disclaimer saying that Nicki Minaj's husband was gonna be in presence, so all the meet and greet and VIP people had to understand that if you had a child, especially a female child under the age of 18, she had to be accompanied by an adult. To come back here and meet her favorite rapper, she had to be accompanied by an adult because her husband might offend again. That's crazy. That is insane, man. Like, what the fuck? That's crazy, man. Look at this shit. It's like, damn, is you that sick? You that fucked up? She got some real low self-esteem. You know, yeah, she got some real low self-esteem, man. Any woman that'll fuck with a motherfucker that's convicted of dealing with children in that kind of manner right there, shit, come on now. You can't even let your little girls play around that fool. How can you be safe? Okay, it says Keith Petty, husband of rapper Nicki Minaj, is a registered sex offender in California. His sex offense stands from 1995, convicted in attempted first-degree rape. Petty was 16 years old at the time. This motherfucker had been sick since he was a child, man. I didn't know that motherfucker done that shit when he was 16 years old. Little sick motherfucker. And he wasn't just one. He is a level 2 sex offender. That means that he's a moderated risk of repeating offense. So level 1, they know they're gonna repeat. Level 2, they know they're gonna repeat. So they know that this motherfucker is either repeating the action as we speak. And then I tell you what, they're gonna get Nicki Minaj. They're gonna charge her, they're gonna put her and her husband with a Diddy situation. It's gonna be some little girl, because you can believe he still got that urge, man. You can't change them motherfuckers. Them folks sick. And for you to be 16 years old and be sick already, this motherfucker was 16 years old, so ain't no telling how many other little girls that was his age that he raped. that didn't tell, man. That's crazy. That's insane. Then hold on. Based on 1 year of home to find President moved to California in 2019, where he was arrested in March of 20 for felony. So they should have hit Nicki Minaj with a charge in 2019, man. Because they said that Nicki Minaj and her husband moved to California in 2020 during COVID. And dude didn't let them folk know he was a motherfucking loaded sex offender. So they ended up getting 3 years probation for not arresting as a sex offender. And 1 year of home confinement. And a $55,000 fine, which I'm pretty sure she paid that. She a good trick. She's a sick little trick, I tell you that. In addition to the attempted rape conviction, Petty was also found guilty of first-degree manslaughter and served nearly 7 years in prison for the offense before being released on parole. Boy, she went and found her one that boy. That bitch went and found her one of the most disgusting ass human beings on this earth and married him. Do they got the kids together? I hope not. See, when you a sick motherfucker like him, they should castrate you when you come out of jail. He shouldn't be allowed to have kids because, oh man, get the fuck out of here. She had a child with this sick motherfucker, man. You got to be fucking kidding me. That show I throw off she is. By law, this motherfucker can't even be around his own child, man. For real. By law, he can't even be around anything under 13 years old, man. So you can believe that what they got in their asshole is someone that walks around and like they nanny is someone that's probably more like a caretaker that watches the child. He can't even be left home with his child, man. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. I can't believe these folks actually. I'm looking at People magazine and dude look like a fucking pedophile, man. I can't believe these folks put that trick in magazines and shit. I know he's married to somebody. And how many kids Nicki Minaj got? She got 3 kids total. She's a sick ass motherfucker, boy. I did not know that about that girl. Somebody need to go check on her, man. Cause she's a sick ass individual. She stayed in them motherfucking strip clubs too long. Yeah, I see they got a little boy. One day somebody gonna tell him your daddy a pedophile. I hope he ain't. Please tell me he ain't no junior. Let me see, is he a junior? They don't even say his name. I hope she didn't get that nigga the junior. She better not name her son after no motherfucking registered sex offender. Okay. She ain't gave his name publicly. She better not have named that child after no motherfucking sex offender. Cause she ain't gave him a chance. Cause every time somebody Google his name, it's gonna pop up his daddy. And don't him look like his daddy, cause they gonna swear him down. that he that sick motherfucker like his daddy, man. Sick ass woman. She's a sick woman. Look at that. That's crazy. She happened to motherfucker be sitting there beside that sick ass motherfucker. Hey, nigga, what your husband do for a living? He's on the sex offender registry. Why is your husband a level 2 sex offender? The reason my husband is a level 2 sex offender is because he was 15, 16 years old running around out there jumping out of bushes, jumping on people's backs. It's crazy. Insane, man. I think she get the Thursday Bitch of the Year award, man. I know a lot of her friends and family don't talk bad to her about that decision, man. I'm talking about I don't care how good that dick is, that head is. How can you lay up in the bed with a motherfucker that confess to being a rapist? This man wasn't falsely accused. This motherfucker did it. I just read, as I'm sitting here right now, I'm reading this whole motherfucking case. Yeah, she's a sick motherfucker, boy. How you lay in the bed with a motherfucker like that, man? Just imagine this fool, because in California, if you live in a neighborhood, you got to notify everybody in your neighborhood that you're a sex offender. Just imagine that he had to go door to door. I put a letter out to everybody in that rich ass neighborhood that not just Nicki Minaj. See, you ain't gotta. It's one thing about it. Nicki Minaj can't never hide her address. She can't never hide her address because he got arrested as a sex offender. And he got to always put his correct address on that motherfucking profile. So she ain't gonna never have no privacy because he got to tell the truth where he lay his head at every day. Them folk got to know where that motherfucker at all times. For real. They got to know where that motherfucker at because he's a level 2 sex offender that got an 80% chance of already offending right now as we speak. Oh, look at her. Sick ass bitch, boy. She a sick bitch. She a sick motherfucker, boy. And you can believe he got a sneaky link. You can believe that trick right. You can believe he got some little young gal that probably was her hairstylist. She probably went through a whole bunch of hairstylists and shit fucking with dude. She got to keep her all male crew around her because she can't have no females around him. Because he getting at them. And then his favorite word, he probably telling them, who you think she gonna believe, you or me? Who you think she gonna believe, you or me? Dang, they gonna charge Nicki Minaj with accessory after the fact. They gonna charge Nicki Minaj with concealing a deadly weapon. Her husband. A rapist. Sick ass motherfucker. It's crazy. And she be having the nerve to go online and be mad. How you gonna be mad that somebody calling the truth out and telling you that something can't be right about you because you dealing with a registered sex offender? Not a motherfucker that was accused of something he didn't do, but a motherfucker that confessed to doing it, man. Not once, but twice. Twice. At 16. At 16 years old, man. Come on now. Come on now. He got that sick gene in him, man. He got a lifetime of supervision. Dude got to go see a probation officer for the rest of his life. Supervisor, they call it supervised community service, where they monitor all level 1 and level 2 sex offenders for the rest of their life. That's a hell of a life. That's a fucked up life. Somebody tell Nikki she lost her mind. Boy, that motherfucker, he got some, man. That nigga got some mean conversations. Who is Nicki Minaj's husband? This is the article they did in People magazine. Students at the same high school. Oh, fuck. Her and this motherfucker went to school together, man. The two lost touch for years before reconnecting in 2018. Oh, get the fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. So, Nicki Minaj and her husband went to school together. So she actually knew this motherfucker was a rapist, and I think he raped her, man. I think Nicki Minaj fell in love with her motherfucking rapist, man. I think Nicki Minaj fell in love with her rapist. Because that motherfucker went to the penitentiary, and it says they reconnected in 2018 and then got married in 2019. So he was one of them pretty boys in school that wouldn't give her little funny looking ass not a chance. And then when she got some money, that fool went out there and found her and said, I'll take you now. Man, that's what it was. Get the fuck out of here, man. Fuck out of here. Boy, People magazine lit his ass up. I'm just reading the People magazine article, and they lit his, man, they talk about Nicki Minaj like she was an imbecile, man. Because they like, you talking about that you went to high school with this man, and this man went to prison when he was in high school for rape. So what time frame did you at? And then you was the little ugly girl and he was the pretty boy, and he didn't give you the time of day, and he popped back up when you got your money right, and now you got your trophy husband even though he a rapist. That's insane. That's what happened. That's the love story of Nicki Minaj. She went and got the motherfucker that didn't give her the time of day in school because he was a pretty boy, but he was a rapist. And when he went to jail and in prison, he knew her to the point where he probably wrote somebody that was in the neighborhood. And when she became famous, man, she was loving him, man. She always loved dude. But dude, they didn't date in high school. None of that. None of that. That fool got out the penitentiary and he went looking for his duck. That trick said they reunited in 2018, got married in 2019, had a baby in 2020. That nigga was already, he was with it. He knew his game plan when he came in her house was, I'm finna use this little gal because she fascinated with me. She always loved me when we was young. And I'm her dreamboat. She knows she can't do no better. I'm the one. Because in her mind, this was a dream nigga, man. This was a dream dude. 1995. Of a 16-year-old girl, and he was 16. He went to prison for 54 months. And then listen to this shit. This is what it says. It said Nicki Minaj followers got to shooting off on her social media page about comments about why would you, as a woman and as a mother, put your children in a situation where you are around a registered sex offender that you know, because you say you went to school with this individual, so you know this individual actually took someone's innocence away by raping them. Then she get to then and say Nicki Minaj, she started trying to sue a lot of people because she was saying people was making defamatory remarks about her and her husband when it's all right here wrote. Motherfucker ain't them just read it word for word. Word for word. You can't make no motherfucker look stupider than they look. You can't. You can't sue no motherfucker when you went to People magazine and did a whole article and them folks wasn't trying to make you look like the hottest rapper. Them folks had found out and wanted to know how the hell that a person that done made all this money and say you with empowering young women of the world, knowingly, willingly, come out here and say you've been knowing this fool since y'all was in school together, in high school, and the average high school age is like 14 to 18, and this chick went to prison at 16 for rape. So that means you knew that dude was going to jail for rape. You probably went to school with the girl that he raped. And he confessed. Them folks, hey, I tell you this, man, them people know how to show a motherfucker that they stupid. They sit them down on them couches and they ask them questions, and you can believe she was trying to tell this fairy tale love story of how they met in high school, and she didn't realize that them people was like, keep that thought. Y'all met in high school. And then they come back in another article and they ask him, how was you when you was convicted of rape, 16 years old? Was you in high school at the time? Yes. So then they come back to Nicki Minaj and they looking at her like, hey, damn, so did you know the girl that he was convicted of raping? Did you go to school with her too? And then that's when they like, she don't want to talk no more. That's why she stopped doing interviews. You can't justify that shit, man. I wouldn't feel right sending my daughter to no concert knowing that somebody's there like him, man. Or someone like her. Because she ain't got no good judgment. She doesn't have any good judgment. I'm talking about, I know her background. She was a stripper. She was a whore. But I'm talking about, damn. I'm not talking about just, can you show us that you at least got common sense? Cause you can't be trying to teach the world and teach little girls that it's cool to be in love with a sex offender man. It'd be different if she didn't know. It'd be different if it wasn't no internet, it wasn't no sex offender registers, but it's too many things to show you. And in her situation, she was there. She knew it. She went from dating her hype man, Nicki Minaj, from 2003 to 2014. Then she went to dating Meek Mills for 2 years to 2017. Then December, she began dating her childhood friend, Pettis. She announced their marriage October 2019. She got some daddy issues, man. And maybe her daddy did some strange shit to her, man. I tell you what's so crazy, and then when you look at her bio and then go to legal issues, it ain't saying nothing about her. It just says Minaj's husband, Keith Pettis, was convicted of attempted rape at 16 in 1995. When Minaj and her husband moved to California, he failed to register as a sex offender, and he was charged and given 3 years probation. Minaj filed a response calling the allegation belittling foolishness, falsehood, saying that her husband wasn't what people thought. It was a misunderstanding of what happened. So you saying this your husband that confessed to this, because it said he confessed, and this girl that was raped told him folks